Hey gang, welcome back to Notes by Alex. I'm excited to be filming this video today. It's been a minute. I got tagged in a video. Thanks Well Traveled Books for tagging me. I'm excited for this one. Everyone watching who doesn't know Well Traveled Books, go check her out because her videos are better than mine. This was the video idea that motivated me to get out of the house again. The past week and a half after finishing the last video has been it's been rainy outside and I'm like, I don't want to film when it's cloudy and lame. And then it got super hot again. I was like, well, it's too hot to film outside now. So yeah, I just got to pick a lane really. People have asked me what my favorite weather is, and it's a fair question, but I think it misses the point. The point is what's more important to me than the weather is the right to complain about everything. Anyways, Well Traveled Books, really great channel. She tagged me in the Friends tag. I watched her video, very much enjoyed it. Still was unclear on what even the rules to this tag are. I had to do a little bit of digging. I don't know that I'm going to be following the rules exactly anyways, so we will see how this goes. If I ever gave the impression that I can do something with attention to detail and care, you are sorely mistaken. So basically the tag is you spell out the word friends. Each letter pertains to a different thing, I guess, and then you list a book related to that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Let's just get into it, I guess. So the word friends, the first letter is F. In this tag refers to friendship, and I believe you're supposed to name a book with a really I guess compelling friendship in it. This was a hard one for me to think of because a lot of my favorite books are ones where every single character hates each other. I cheated a little bit. I'm currently listening to the audiobook of The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. I'm not finished it. In fact, I'm not even close to being done. Tolkien is like the one author above everyone else that I want to like so much more than I can actually successfully enjoy him. I love the Lord of the Rings movies, and I want so badly to love the Lord of the Rings books, and I have tried and struggled reading them, and even with the audiobook I'll listen to it while I'm driving around, and I fear that I may fall asleep at the wheel and die. But I am battling through it because there's so many themes to these books that I really appreciate, one of which is friendship. In the first few chapters of Fellowship of the Ring, the friendship between Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin is really emphasized. It's something that's still present in the movies, but it's an example of something that gets cut back quite a bit for time when you're adapting something for the screen. So even more so than in the movies, you get a sense in these early chapters of Fellowship of the Ring that these four hobbits have grown up in the Shire for their lifetimes, and they've got a really strong bond. So that is one thing I'm appreciating so far in this book. If you want to know something that I would like to appreciate and I'm just not, is the amount of songs. It's kind of entertaining in audiobook form, but it's just so many songs that Tolkien came up with. There's a point just before they leave the Shire to travel with the ring, and they stop in at a house to rest up and eat, and they all draw up separate baths in different bathrooms. And it says that Frodo sings one of his favorite tub songs. Wait, one of your favorite tub songs? How many do you have on the Rolodex? The R in Friends refers to real life. Little confused about what this one pertained to. It's nonfiction books, and when I watched Well Traveled Books video, she talked about a nonfiction book that she really enjoyed. When I looked up other videos of the Friends tag, people were talking about a nonfiction book they want to read, so I'm gonna name both, I guess. One of my favorite nonfiction books ever I read in 2020, and I'm not going to say too much about it because I do have a video lined up where I talk about it more extensively because I still think about it all the time, but that would be In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts by Dr. Gabor Mate. Dr. Gabor Mate, he's a doctor who has worked in Vancouver's downtown east side for years and years. He knows a lot about the struggles of trauma and addiction, and this book's about trauma and addiction, so it's a subject that interests me a lot. It is relevant to my current job as well as hopefully my future career, we'll see. So it's a book that was really important and enlightening and engaging and meaningful to me. So yeah, I'll talk about it more soon. As far as a nonfiction book that I would like to read, I have to look at the name. In the Buddha's Words. I'll put a picture of it up. Into the Buddha's Words. I feel like I'm really interested in reading more about Buddhism, and there's 8 different books about Buddhism that all have very similar titles. There's one In the Buddha's Words, heart of the Buddha's teachings, what the Buddha taught, and I get them all mixed up. I can just picture the covers in my head, but apparently the one that I have on screen right now is the one I've heard is just a really good start to learning a little bit more about Buddhism. If anyone's watching and they know more about these texts or like have a different one to recommend, please send it my way because yeah, Buddhism's kind of confusing. So the I refers to indie books, and you're supposed to name an indie book you've read. I had to look up what that is, and I'm pretty sure I've never read a single one in my whole life. The thing is, I'm getting back into reading as an adult, and like, I don't have a huge pool of books I've read to pull from for this video. So far, a lot of what I've been reading is like stuff that I have heard time and time again is really good. A lot of buzz around it or a lot of popularity. So it's maybe a little bit counterintuitive to the idea of an indie book. But I'll tell you about the closest thing I've read to an indie book because it's kind of a weird story. So back in 2016, I believe, I traveled in Southeast Asia for 5 months. I didn't bring many books with me on the trip because you're limited to backpack space, and I didn't have an e-reader at the time. So somewhere in southern Thailand, I stepped into a bookstore, and everything was like shrink wrapped. All the books were in plastic wrapping, really clean plastic wrapping, which I thought was just kind of like the nature of Thailand publishing, I guess. And I picked up 2 books. I picked up After the Quake. It's a collection of short stories by Haruki Murakami, as well as The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. I ripped off the shrink wrap. I opened the books. It was immediately very clear that these were like poorly photocopied copies that were selling in some bookstore. So they just like cheaply reprinted books that they clearly had no legal right to be doing so. And yeah, so I paid real money for like what was effectively a photocopy. I enjoyed both of them a lot, even though The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, it was like missing a page. So, and like they weren't numbered pages. So I was reading and then all of a sudden the plot jumped and I had to like just piece together what happened on that missing page or so. So yeah, great read. So E refers to endings. Name an ending that made you scream. When I heard this, my assumption is that an ending you didn't like. I feel like people maybe scream for good endings too. I don't know. It kind of takes a lot for me to be genuinely frustrated by an ending. Sometimes, like even if endings are unsatisfying, I feel like I can appreciate what the author was trying to do. Maybe an unsatisfying ending was kind of like the point of the book. However, one book that was loaned to me for my Southeast Asia trip back in 2016 was Sputnik's Sweetheart by Haruki Murakami. Honestly, I haven't read very much Haruki Murakami. Like, there's some children's book about a library I read that I can't remember the name of, but then the only other books I read were After the Quake, the collection of short stories, and then Sputnik's Sweetheart. After the Quake had some short stories that ended kind of unsatisfyingly, but it was okay because it's like a 10-page short story. And I guess kind of ambiguous, dreamlike plots and like just a lack of ending. Maybe that's kind of Murakami's bag. Someone who's read more by him can maybe confirm this. I'm not sure that it's my jam. I'm not going to write him off just yet. I intend to read more of his books, but Sputnik's Sweetheart, like, I don't know, man. I read it on a beach in southern Thailand, like beautiful, sunny, like crystal clear water, super soft sand. And the book started really good, and I think it's like one of the only books in my life where I finished it in this gorgeous locale, and I was just like, I think I just wasted time in my life that I can't get back. I still have that copy because the friend who loaned it to me, he never took it back. I wish he would. Okay, the N in Friends refers to new, a new book that you were excited for. Honestly, like, I don't really keep up with new books. I feel like by the time I hear about a book and I'm interested about it, it's because there's some hype around it or it's like a classic. I know that Cormac McCarthy is writing a new book called The Passenger. I don't know a single thing about it, and I've heard some people read the plot summary and say it sounds bad. But yeah, I'm excited for that whenever that comes out, just because I really appreciate his writing style. That's all I can really think of. So the D in dark refers to a dark book. Name a book with some dark themes to it. There's a few books I could have gone for with this. I decided to go with one that I briefly touched on in a wrap-up earlier in the year. That is The Elementary Particles by Michel Houellebecq. also published under the name Atomized, I believe, in the UK. It was a hard read. It's pretty miserable and dreary, and I mentioned that in the past on this channel. It's something that I still think about a lot, and like I feel like I'll probably reread it at some point. Houellebecq seems to be a weird author to talk about because I feel like some people really think he should be like canceled or whatever. I don't know. I don't keep up with like discourse on specific authors, but a lot of, I guess, his views that come across in his books people don't agree with. I don't necessarily either as far as this book in question goes. This is kind of hard to explain, but like with the elementary particles, Houellebecq really digs into a sharp concern for modernity. I get the sense that he's got some concerns for the modern way of living, and some of it I agree with, some I don't. But what's interesting is in this book he kind of takes modernity to a very extreme conclusion. It's not really a sci-fi book. It's close enough to our reality that it feels like a looming threat almost, but the way the characters live in this book is just miserable, and it's kind of a hyper-exaggerated form of some of the ways people live their lives right now. I get the sense of what Houellebecq wanted to say with this book is like, if we continue abandoning kind of traditional values and heading in this ultra-modern direction for life, this is the end point. Do I personally think that that's where we're gonna get to? Hard to say, I don't know about that. But it's interesting to think about. There's certain things that cause misery in the main characters' lives in this book that are quite pertinent right now. And I could see things heading in a darker direction in the future. All of this is to say, go read the plot summary of The Elementary Particles, give it a read. I encourage it. I thought it was very thought-provoking. I don't think that by reading it you have to subscribe to all of Houellebecq's ideals, which, I mean, if you're a death of the author kind of guy, which I totally am, who's to say that Houellebecq even believes any of this stuff in this book? I thought it was just an interesting, thought-provoking read. So yeah. And then the S in Friends is share. So I had to pick YouTube channels to tag and share the love, get them to do this video. I'd like to tag Fictionesque to do this tag. She leaves her subscribers hidden, so I don't know how many she has, but she deserves more, whatever the number is. Her book commentaries are insightful and often hilarious, and she's got lots of videos about her personal journey on mental health, and her take on mental health and well-being is something I also greatly appreciate. It's something that I agree with a lot of the time. The video I did about ways I'm simplifying my life was somewhat inspired by Fictionesque, because she's got a lot of videos about what she's doing to, you know, keep her own mental well-being. And I think those kind of conversations are really engaging, and I think they're very important. So yeah, check her out. Hopefully she does the tag, because it's a fun one. I'd like to tag What Page Are You On? It's a channel run by a gentleman named Alex. Great name. His videos are immensely entertaining, and he's got a really broad span of books. Like a lot of the books he talks about I had never heard of, and I think he's an interesting guy, so I'd like to see him do this video. I'd like to tag Diaries. I believe she started BookTube around the same time as I did, and she was just like immediately killing it. She has such a good sense of what makes an entertaining video, and I hope she does this tag. Even if she doesn't, I hope you check out her channel, because she sincerely deserves it. Yeah, that's the video. I have shared the love, I have talked about some books, I have cheated on this tag a little bit. Thanks again to Well Traveled Books for tagging me in this one. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, looking forward to more videos from you in the future too, as always. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you again soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, thank you, thanks. Okay, bye.